I see our faces, and here we go. Welcome to Sunday Live Chat. A pleasure today to welcome our special guest, Mr. Martyn Ware, over in the UK there. Guest host and best buddy today, Mr. Mark Spybey, also in the UK today. So I'm the lone man out here over in Los Angeles, bright and early. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Absolute
Hello.
pleasure to have you here. Mark and I have hosted a few chats together of some of our most luckily favorite musicians ever, and you are definitely on that list. So
Oh,
we're honored to have you.
thank you.
Mark, you had an
So yeah,
introduction.
Martin, I'm gonna start by going back in time a little bit. Like you, I'm from Steel Town. I think I think your Steel Town's slightly more famous than ours.
Oh,
Um, and for I was thinking about this, and when I grew up, the whole the name Sheffield was synonymous with steel because every single time we picked up a piece of cutlery, it had Sheffield Steel
that's it.
stamped
Yeah,
onto it.
that's it.
And for those, I mean, most of the audience here is going to be in North America. So Sheffield is in the south of Yorkshire, and I'm in the north of Yorkshire, which is Yorkshire's a big place, but we're both from Yorkshire, which is cool. But I just wondered, um, how might the landscape of where you grew up affected you as an artist? How might have that influenced your work as an artist?
Well, in many ways, I suppose. I mean, I grew up, I suppose in America you call it the projects in Sheffield, in council housing. My parents were very poor. We had very little. My dad used to work in the steelworks. My mum was just looking after four kids and bringing them up and stuff. And and at the time when I was entering my teenage years, it was just about the time that Margaret Thatcher had just decided to try and destroy the power of the unions in Britain by closing down the vast majority of British steel in Sheffield and many other places in Britain. And so there was of a town of 500,000 people. I think there was within a couple of years there was 70,000 extra unemployed people. Um, and in terms of the future, looks a bit grim, to be honest with you. Not as though I was ever going to work in a steelworks, but there was not much in the way of stuff to do in Sheffield. So you had to make your own fun, putting it bluntly. And that's what we did. So I was lucky. Well, first of all, here's the background. There weren't that many music venues in Sheffield. So there was a big one, the Sheffield City Hall, and a couple of kind of nightclubby type places, but the rest of it was all working men's clubs and pubs, really. So very little to do. So Sheffield is a place of makers, not only cutlery, but it's kind of like shoot first, ask questions later in terms of making stuff. And so there were a lot of empty kind of ex and small engineering shops throughout the centre of Sheffield, which is where I lived. Um, businesses going out of business, and all of a sudden you could pick up these places for like rehearsal rooms or whatever for peanuts for rent, and that's what we did. So I met Glenn and Ian from Hem 17 um, in a youth drama project called Meat Whistle. And then we went on to get our own little studio. We call this studio. It was excuse my language, a shithole. But it was our shithole, right? So that's the important thing. And we started messing about. And the one formative moment I look back on in my life was um, we used to religiously buy the music papers every week, and we were big fans of Roxy music and glam and Eno in particular. And Eno had this kind of opinion piece in over 2 pages in New Musical Express, and it came out and the gist of the piece was rock and roll is dead. which we all know wasn't true, but rock and roll is dead or dying. And all you need now is a synthesizer, a tape recorder, and a microphone. And we went, oh, we can do that. So literally, we took him at his word. This is how stupid it was. And we did it. And Ian Marsh, my co-conspirator in the early Human League, bought a really nice modular synth, which I've still got, by the way.
Oh, really?
A Roland System 100. And I bought a Korg 700S, which I've still got in my studio.
Classic.
And use all the time. And we bought a 2-track reel-to-reel, and we started making music. And the first proper attempt at doing a song was Being Boiled in 1978.
Wow. Straight off the bat.
Well, we had a few messing about kind of things before that, but nothing serious. This was our first. Bear in mind, it was in the middle of the kind of punk boom, so suddenly we were going to see bands who were so bad that we, for the first time, thought we can't be any worse than that.
Yeah.
And not only were they bad, they were also very, very old-fashioned. I mean, basically, I'd grown up going to working men's clubs with my parents, going to see wannabe heavy metal bands doing, playing Creedence Clearwater Revival and Yellow River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so none of this kind of rock and roll stuff was that new to me. It just seemed like pub rock to me. So consequently, when the first affordable synths came out, it seemed an obvious way to go, because we all were so impressed with people like Eno, who kind of showed a kind of pathway forward, and Kraftwerk, of course, and a lot of the krautrock bands.
Yeah.
And Giorgio Moroder, very important.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Was the System 100 affordable at first when it came out?
Well, here's a very funny story. So I didn't buy it. Ian Marsh bought it, and I'm going. We both started working as computer operators at different companies at the same time, and I knew what I was getting paid, and I knew he was getting paid roughly the same amount. And I'm going. My synthesizer cost like 350 quid. His cost like 1,500 quid.
Right.
I didn't think about it very much at the time. I thought, where's he getting? Maybe he's borrowed the money from his parents. But then his parents were like, his dad was a builder, his mum was a housewife. So I'm going, I don't fully understand this. It only transpired a good few years later that his dad had won the football pools. He'd won like, I don't know, and a really quite a large amount of money for the time, like £200,000, which is equivalent to probably 2 million there.
Yeah.
But he never admitted it. He never said anything about it. So I'm going, well, I'm not complaining. We get to play with a System 100. I mean, if you want to buy one of those now, if you can find it intact, it's like,
forget it.
Yeah, it's like $15,000 or $20,000 and
at least, I'd say.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a System 100M as well?
Yes.
Because
But I always preferred the System 100.
our friend Jack Dangers from Meat Beat Manifesto showed me.
No, Jack, I've interviewed him. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed me this setup here and said, I believe that when I bought this, I was told that this used to belong to the Human League. But you just said that you still have your System 100, which would be this lower portion here.
That's the lower part. I've still got that, yeah.
And he said
with the speakers as well, yeah.
Oh, wow. And he said that this used to belong to you guys, and somehow he got it in a London shop.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, that's why I've got, that system. So the System 100M was very useful and good, and we did have it in addition to to the 100. But I don't know, it just didn't have the same vibe as the 100. There was something about the elegance and the simplicity of the 100. And then he started adding a few bells and whistles to the 100M, and it's like, you know, it's the way I feel about Euro right now is like it's pathetic. It's a bit fetishist for me. I just like give me something straightforward that I can use as a tool. I'm not trying to convince somebody I've got a Ferrari Testarossa. I just want
Yeah.
something. I just want something that gets me from A to B.
I think John Fox was saying pretty much the same thing to us when we talked to
Yeah.
him.
It seems that Korg 700 basically was the synth of choice for a lot of the early electronic records that we have investigated.
Right.
And you
Well,
still have that too.
I've got the 700S, which has an extra oscillator,
Yeah.
so you could create ring modulation effects, which was quite useful. That really expanded its capability. But actually, I've got both, and the one that I use live at the moment is the original 700,
Wow.
which I got later. Actually, Vince Clarke bought it for me for my birthday. So yeah, I use that for live, and whenever I play that live, because we do Being Boiler live, we do it as the final encore. People just can't believe what it sounds like. I mean, it sounds so much better than any virtual synth, or any contemporary analog synth, actually.
I'm kind of thinking that it was brilliant that that's the machine that you ended up starting with because, say, the drums and the sounds of the future and into the Human League and even continuing on, they always have this like quite beautifully rigid sound and such amazing sound quality on the kicks and snares. I was going to ask, was it always done on the 100 then?
Yep. Another salient point is that despite the fact you've had template sheets for marking down the patches, etc., but the knobs were so tweaky that you'd often get it slightly wrong, and that would oftentimes change the sound completely. So
Yeah.
every time you did a new song, because also bear in mind it was all running on a hardware sequencer, so you've got the tweakiness of those little knobs on there as well. You combine those elements of, say, 10 or 20% of randomness, then you end up with a slightly different sound all the time. What it does do is it ear trains you into designing, into modifying sounds to make exactly what you want. Whereas we are now in a world where basically 95% of the time you start with, or more, you start with a preset and modify that. There were no presets. If you didn't patch everything up properly, you didn't make the sound.
I have to say, like, there's a lot of people that will say that there are pivotal moments in their musical life when you hear something and you got to go home and restart your record collection. And for me, being on the other side of the world in Canada, in Vancouver at the time, it was actually May 1980, and I walked into a club for the first time after really not really hearing the underground of electronic music yet. But the first thing I heard was the Holiday 80 being
Yeah.
boiled, and this is my original copy too. Literally had to run to the DJ booth to ask, what is this? And I have to really say, it changed my direction in life and music. And from that day on, I've always heralded the sound of like the path of least resistance, and just I think it was like the ultimate beginnings to everything that inspired, at least for us, being the music that we ended up going on to make with Skinny Puppy. It definitely came from you guys. Like, I mean, there was the impact, the sound, and how it had to have that feel. And so I attribute it all to this
Oh, that's
this.
really kind of you. Thank you. And it's a great honor because I'm a skinny puppy fat. So there you go.
Well, you
Uh,
started it.
no, I don't know about that.
No,
But
really, Dance Vision and,
yeah,
really, yeah, The Path of Least Resistance, Empire
I
State Human,
well,
Almost Medieval, like basically were anthems for us.
well, the interesting thing is that before that, Reproduction, the first Human League album, that was a beautifully engineered and produced record, but it was a bit squeaky clean for us. We didn't the the kind of responsibility for mixing it and re-recording it was given to the engineer who, what was his name now? Anyway, he worked on low, and we thought, fuck, we love low so much. If it sounds like low, we're all over it. And in fact, it ended up being quite. It felt like it took quite a lot of the bollocks out of it, and we were a bit disappointed with the end product because, like, if you take, for instance, look at something like Almost Medieval, when we performed that live, we were performing largely with punk bands as a support act. Then we did a headline, but we were going through shitty PAs. We were overloading channels. We were even using pedals sometimes. What we were doing, we saw really as electro punk
Mm.
because it was
Absolutely.
really quite
Yeah,
brutal
yeah,
live.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I remember we did a
yeah.
gig at the Marquee Club in London, and it was sold out, and it's hot and sweaty, and all the oscillators were going out of tune and everything. But it was like, and the PA was kind of really gritty and horrible sounding, but it made the whole thing visceral, Anyway, so moving on, we insisted after Reproduction didn't do quite as well as we'd hoped. We said to the record company, "You've got to trust us," because we had our own studio. We said, you've got to let us record and mix our own record in the way that we want to, mainly doing it in our own studio in Sheffield. And that was what Travelogue was. And Holiday 80 was just directly after Travelogue. And that is an entirely different sound. An entirely different sound is more, actually, strangely, more like low in a lot of ways. It's more kind of middly and punchy and aggressive and black into space and all that kind of thing.
Absolute classic album. And these two albums, I think there's a lot of people that will say, their Human League is like, for me, is these two albums.
Oh, thank you, man.
I don't really go beyond. It's an
Well, there
interesting.
was a great pop record. Let's not get that.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But
And
it's not really got anything to
yeah.
do with what we were doing.
and I
No.
think it was interesting that you guys kind of marked that there was no guitars or live drums in your recordings. It's sort of like how Queen said no synthesizers.
Yeah, that's exactly why we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was brilliant to say that. But then it was interesting that the Human League in Dare went on to be the first band to use a Lindrum, which is really the emulation of the real drum being made into a machine. It was almost you guys parted and went the direction which you had sort of avoided.
Well, all of a sudden, we thought, like the 3 years that we were working with the early Human League was like doing a university course in sound design, really. So it's like the stuff that this is the way I felt about it. And I think Ian felt the same way. It's like the stuff that we'd learned about how to mold and craft and sculpt sound. I personally then wanted to use that knowledge to use real instruments to create a hybrid approach, which was what Heaven 17 was, and in fact B.E.F at the time as well. And so all of a sudden, it's like the record company was saying, we found John Wilson, the amazing 17-year-old bass player, and and at the same time, the Lindrum came out, and that was realistic sounding drums. Drummers come up to me in Sheffield saying, you know, oh, it's rubbish that, because you know it doesn't sound like a real drummer. I'm going, that's the fucking point. I mean, don't worry, I'd already worked with some real drummers, and they always used to slow down when it came to a fill, you know, and stuff like that. Listen, there's room for all kinds of beauty in that respect. I understand now, but at the time, that kind of machine-like consistency was something that I aspired to personally. And so we got that. You got real bass, real guitar. We were big fans of Chic and of electronic, you know. So the idea of combining, as George and Moroder did, in fact, pioneered the beautiful hybridization of sequencers, electronics with funk and funk guitar, funk bass orchestras was the template for Hem 17.
I was going to say, you know, even in the earlier Human League stuff, although there was a bleakness and a darkness about it, there was still for me, there was still this is almost like kind of like strange soul funk music. You know, there was
Really?
that kind of sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I heard
I have
heard
to
the
tell
beat.
you, that was a big influence on me. Not so much Phil, I don't think. He liked experimental jazz
Yeah.
and introduced me to a lot of stuff, but he wasn't really a soul fan. I used to go to Northern Soul clubs and all sorts. And in fact, Being Boiled was a really ham-fisted attempt at trying to do something like Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what
That's
I was
amazing.
getting at really with the beat. Yeah.
Because I was
It's
an
very funky. Yeah.
enormous fan of Bernie Worrell, you know.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Yeah. The whole
absolutely
scene. Yeah.
love the horn sounds that you achieved on Greenball. Where did that
Secret.
come from?
All right, okay. So it was just a joke, a misheard joke one day. You know, it's like listening to the Boys of Buddha as opposed to the Voice of Buddha, which is the first line of. And we went, Boys of Buddha. That's a great name for a horn section. Why don't we do a new version of Being Boiled in the way that we would have done it had we had the knowledge and the 24-track facilities on, you know, we did as we did on Travelog. So I wanted it to sound like Brecker Brothers. But we were a big fan of East River, you know, and just horns in general, you know. And we thought, well, how are we going to do that? Because like everybody's using like Mini Moogs, we weren't using American synths at the time. And then we came up, and we were, and still are, huge fans of Frank Zappa. And I was listening to a bunch of early Frank Zappa stuff, and he was a massive user of tape manipulation. And we thought, hold on a second, if we slow down the tape machine to half speed. Firstly, I can't play horns that fast. I'm just not a very good keyboard player. But so I could play funky parts, but I would have to do it at half speed. So if I do it an octave underneath, if we speed it up because of the change of spectral characteristic, it'll make it sound sharper and like a shorter attack and a brighter sound. And that's what we did with the new version of Being Boiled, and in fact all the ones where we use that kind of sound.
And what synth was that you used to achieve that?
That was the 700S.
That's brilliant. Wow, I'm really impressed. Before you started making music, you and Ian were you guys dabbling in computer programs?
No, not programmers. That was
Just operating.
Far too clever for us. Yeah. No, it's computer operating when the computers were the size of a large room. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The computer that I was operating had which was running things like payroll for a big company, and you know, remittance advisors, and running giant printouts that would last 5 hours and stuff at night and stuff. That had 16K memory. And the disk drives were like a fucking washing machine, right? So you
Yeah.
Yeah.
put
What?
them on and off.
10 megabyte.
Yeah. And when
Yeah.
when I moved on to 10 megabyte, and moved on to what we thought was incredibly futuristic, and I moved on to an IBM 3600 series, which was, I think, 32 meg memory. Again, the size of half a football field, you know. Not quite that big.
Even
The size
still,
of a
you know,
basketball court.
in the
Yeah.
70s, still being approaching computers, did that assist you in any way in the learning of recording or programming synthesizers, or was it just
No, not
no,
really.
not really?
Except no, I don't think it did. Um, I designed some graphics on punch cards and stuff like that, and printed out some. In fact, they're still online somewhere. You can see them. If you search for Human League dot matrix printer graphics or whatever. So I did a lot of designing in the early days. I designed the covers, and because I've always been more interested in graphic design than music, really. No, that's not quite true. I like music, but I've always mixed with photographers and graphic designers, and regarded the whole creative process as a holistic, shall we say, a holistic whole, which each discipline informs the other
Mm.
and inspires the other.
Yeah. I was going to take you back a little bit to some of the early live shows that you did with the Human League. Did
Yeah.
you play at the Futurama Festival?
Yes.
I didn't go, but all of my friends went, and they just kind of like, it's become this kind of like, almost like I was at the Sex Pistols gig in Manchester kind of story, you know. What were your
Yeah.
memories of playing Futurama?
Well, my memory was on this when we toured with Susie and the Banshees. I think they might have been on the same bill. I'm not sure. Gang of Four were, I think. Anyway, just prior to that, we were touring with Susan and the Banshees, and as part of the bill, below us on the bill was also Spiz Oil, who were like a
Yeah, space
Changing the
energy.
name.
a punk band, right? So
Yeah.
they were very good friends of ours. We were close friends, and just before I went, and they were on the bill as well for Futurama. Just before I was going on stage, Spiz came up to me and said, "Oh, you should try this. It's oh, you try everything, don't you? Sooner or later." He said, "Try this. It's poppers, right?" And I'm going, "What's poppers?" He said, "Just inhale this really deep, and go for it." And I'm going, and I went on stage, and I'm going, "What the fuck is going on?" Fortunately, it only lasted about 45 seconds or so, but I was completely done for. Anyway, that gig was quite legendary. There was a bit of not rivalry, but a kind of competitiveness between the punk acts who saw us as a bit of a threat, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly Gang of Four did. Because we made them feel a bit old-fashioned, I think. So they used to they smile to our faces, but behind our backs they were going, "Bloody rubbish, Chad Valley, playing toys. They're not real musicians
Yeah.
and all."
Can I ask you a bit about how you recorded some of the stuff? We were learning from John Fox that usually one track would go down that had sync or a drum machine tempo, and then everything else was hand played. Is that similar with the beginning, or did you have synchronization to trigger synthesizers and add sequences and so on?
Well, initially it was that, yes, but then we started experimenting. This is immediately prior to MIDI, right?
Yeah.
So we started experimenting with pilot tones. So like I think it was 60 hertz pilot tones or 90 hertz or something. And it was a very rudimentary way of synchronizing sequences to other rhythmic elements. And it was a bit erratic, to be brutally honest with you. It was very tweaky. You had to get it exactly right, and etc. But generally, we started off with creating. This is prior to Heaven 17, of course. We started off with creating stuff on the hardware sequencer of the System 100. We did make a couple of tracks with Dr. Rhythm, which had a sync capability via pilot tone as well, I think, perhaps. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So we experimented with that with limited success. But it was really when MIDI came in, obviously, that changed everything. And when the big revolution for us was the Jupiter 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because then we could play chords. It's the first time we could play chords.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is interesting. I can barely play one note at a time. Now I can play, I can play triads, I can play all sorts. So, and arpeggiation, which of course we all take for granted now. But back in, being able to sync that arpeggiation with drums was fucking amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do polyrhythms before I even knew what a polyrhythm was. You go, oh fucking hell, that sounds like something from South America or something. Like if you look at Geisha Boys and Temple Girls, that the original backing track for that is like or Let's All Make a Bomb. That's very polyrhythmic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't know. I mean, none of us were musically trained, so we're just experimenting by doing.
You guys just had the natural funk.
I think we've got certain elements of funk. Interestingly enough, just bringing it up to date for 1 minute, I've just been working for the last 5 months on a brand new B.E.F album, inspired by the
Nice.
origins of the inspiration of electronic funk.
wow.
Yeah, so
I love
45
music for
years
stowaways.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
45 years on, and it's going to be, there's 22 artists, 29 tracks, and we're just trying to find a deal at the moment, and nobody knows what to do with it because it's so fucking huge. It's like, it's my masterwork, basically. So it's inspired by electronic funk and soul, and but combined with obviously electronics and everything.
Very
So that's going to be
interesting.
coming out. That's going to be coming out either late autumn or early next year.
Fantastic.
It's going to be called Electric Soul Manifesto, Volume Musical Quality Distinction, Volume 4. Yeah.
Wow. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Are you
well,
fond of
Yeah, go on.
fond of manifestos? Because I was reading that the Human League had a manifesto.
Well, yeah. The Human League Manifesto. It used to be pinned to the wall. Actually,
Right.
it was like, it was mainly to do, obviously, the obvious things like only electronics and stuff. That's boring, but it was things like there was a list of words you weren't allowed to use in songs,
Oh, wow.
like love, world, other
Baby.
times, but not baby. Probably you weren't allowed to use words that were used in a banal way in traditional pop
Yeah.
punk. But then, ironically, that became, when it turned into fuck you time, when the split happened, it was the opposite. So we were looking, from when we were composing, doing the lyrics for We Don't Need That Fascist Groove thing, we actually used the source material, the titles of the songs from the top 50 disco records in Record Mirror Chart. So that's where Groove
I
Thing
wanted to talk about that song and thank you for it, because I think it's become, for me, probably one of the most important political songs of the last 50 or 60 years.
Oh, thank you.
And that it's it's got increasing relevance now.
Oh,
It's,
Oh my
I
God.
mean,
Like
these were
you could,
dark days when you wrote that.
if
I
you're
mean,
over
I
here,
read that, yeah,
yeah,
I read that
no.
you were banned from the BBC for mentioning the word Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, calling him a fascist god, yeah.
That's right.
Um,
and
but we've done a new version of it, which we performed live, and the new lyrics go, uh, Trump is president, reject fascist god emotion. And that always gets a cheer, you know.
I think,
I'm not expecting to be let back into the US at any point soon.
I don't know, I don't know. I was there last year, and I think there's a lot of good people who are
Yeah, not on the
very
borders,
open in
right?
their opposition. Not at the borders, yeah. Well, you just keep it quiet, yeah. But I mean, that song for me is as relevant, it's as inspirational, and it's as right as it was 40 years ago. So
yes,
thanks so much, because
aged very
Oh,
well
thank
too.
you. Well,
I
I
really
think,
think that was a statement, such an
yeah,
important statement as well.
I think it makes me laugh because, since then, obviously, the social media has become important in a lot of people's lives. And every time, I mean, I'm still posting on a regular basis in opposition to all this stuff. And like everybody who has got an independent viewpoint, who's opposed to shall we say, the right wing preponderance at the moment, I get trolled a
Mm,
lot, and a lot of them are American, and it's so easy to spot them because they
yes.
go, oh, what you do, you fucking lefty, jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, excuse
yeah,
me, have you seen this record I did 45 years
yeah,
ago?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
you'll find that this isn't a new thing for me. Just because the world has drifted right doesn't alter the fact that this is true.
I mean, again, for our North American viewers, you were from a city at the time that was known as the People's Republic of South Yorkshire.
That's right.
I mean, there were
Yeah.
flying red flags from the town hall,
Oh well, this
literally. Yeah,
it's still pretty left wing. Unfortunately,
yeah,
the whole scene has been somewhat confused and soured by reform and that whole far right nonsense. But I think people are waking up to that now a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. Yeah. So
I think
thank you, Martin.
I
Thank
think
you.
you guys have
Yeah.
kind of always been kind of seeing the future in a weird way. I mean, even with your first band, The Future, like when you look at something like the Black Hit of Space, it kind of explains how the music industry is kind of turned into.
I often say that we are like the poor man's Nostradamus, I think.
That's yeah, no, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite. I mean, we were always, apart from being socially and politically aware, we were kind of in love with science fiction in the 70s and 80s, and a lot of science fiction was highly dystopian at that time. They were the ones that we
Mm,
liked anyway. The kind of writers, Harlan Ellison, and you know, not so much Isaac Asimov, but the ones that were more interested in the future of society rather than just spaceships. And we always, and Phil and Ian, we all found that fascinating. And how could we I mean, our original idea was to incorporate not just politics, but social awareness and a little bit of kind of futurology into the whole, not just the music, but the lyrical content. And a lot of it, unfortunately, is relevant now, yeah, as you say.
mm.
I was
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
that when you guys made the split, that when I first heard British Electric Foundation, that there was a lot of things on it that I could see that I knew who to follow. Like, say, for instance, Decline of the West was still the classic structure that I love about you guys, and the Old at Rest, like just
Yeah.
the chord progression and everything. I thought like, is that you or is that Ian or who's the guy that sits down and at the keyboard with that does the
That
chords?
was that was all me.
Brilliant. I mean, as well, I want to say again the giant organ sound in Being Boiled. What's
Oh,
is that?
giant organ. Oh, I say.
I'll call it organ, yeah. Well, but it's so huge. What synth is that?
So, sorry, the giant organ sound in Being Boiled, did you say?
Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, that. Again, it's the 700.
Unbelievable.
The chorus. And that synth is fucking amazing. Honest to God, people, I watch people in the front row with their jaws open when I play that synth. It just rocks the house like no other. I mean, I've played loads of synths live, and it's just like there's something about the oscillators and the filters on that particular synth.
You did a U.S. tour. What it was like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was out of the country and missed it. But every single one of my friends was saying that's one of the best things I've seen.
Oh,
Do you have plans to come again?
where did they? Which gig did they go to? Which city?
San Diego.
San Diego. Interesting. It's getting more difficult because the cost of visas,
Oh yeah, they're bad.
the general kind of awkwardness of it all, the price of tickets and the guarantees from the promoters are barely enough to make it pay its way. And also, people are racking up the cost of accommodation
Yeah.
and transport.
Mhm.
So he had all those things together. It's like it was only just paying its way before. Now it's like it's really, really borderline. So a lot of bands take the view of, oh, they love this kind of romantic notion of being on the road, touring America, and like, listen, at the age of 70, I'm coming to the point. I'm over the romance of it now. I'm happy to do it if they pay me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah, you don't have to pay your dues anymore.
No. The idea of being on a sleeper bus with a bunch of arseholes that were up until 4 a.m. drinking and shouting and screaming does not appeal to me while sleeping in the coffin. I need a hotel. I need nice peace and quiet, pipe, slippers. Not quite that, but you know what I mean. It's a very tiring thing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we're not fucking Fleetwood Mac with a couple of private jets. This is
Yeah.
like we're not 25 either.
Yeah.
So I know, for instance, we're obviously good friends with a load of people like ABC and Thomas Dolby and all these people, and OMD, and they do it because their overheads are relatively low as well, because it's like just a couple of them. We tour, we're a 7-piece touring party. We've got 5 people on stage. It's not a cheap enterprise. If people want to give us a half decent guarantee, we'll come. We'd love to come over.
Yeah.
That's why the one-off. We've done a couple of one-off festivals, like we did Cruel World in Pasadena, and
Right.
that was great. And that was worth doing, because it was a decent fee and blah blah blah. But they're doing every shithole club. I mean, I love Detroit, for instance, but we ended up doing the Magic Bag, and it's like 500 or something. It's just like it's funky and it's memorable and it's great, but it's like no money in it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's tough. It's not easy to get around and to do the things that people would like you to do, or to carry your old modular synth that's probably as delicate as can be.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, the other thing is, I don't fully understand. You might have some views on this. Why ticket prices are the same in dollars, more or less, as they are in pounds here in the UK. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's 30% less in real terms. Ticket prices, I just don't understand it.
Oh,
If
especially lately.
I just don't, but you know,
Like
and
people expect to
also all the
pay.
costs have gone up 30%. So yeah,
You know, back in the day, like on your money, the 12-inch, you could get it for £1.49.
no, those are the days.
You believe that? What a
Those are
great
the
Yeah.
deal.
days. We
Yeah.
do it. We do a live version of that now, a long version, which is a medley of that and I Feel Love. It's really good, actually.
Oh, that would be brilliant. I mean, that's probably one of the greatest disco songs ever.
Oh, it's
Oh,
probably
you're playing in Darlington soon. I think in early August. I
no.
might pop over.
That's been cancelled apparently.
Oh no, is it? Oh shit.
Yeah, apparently the promoter, I don't know, ticket sales weren't enough or something. They wanted to kick it down the road for a year, and we said nope, we'll keep the deposit. Thanks, rebook us if you want. You know,
Oh well.
so it's a tough market out there at the moment. You know, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
everybody goes, oh fucking hell, you know, Harry Styles doing 5 nights at fucking Wembley Stadium or something. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like people get a really unrealistic view of mid-ranking acts and how much money they're making out of this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
business.
I
And you
was
can
gonna.
only
I
make
was
money out
gonna.
of performing live now. That's the thing.
Exactly. I was. I was gonna take you back a little bit as well. I was intrigued about the whole launch of the BEF and the same year,
Yeah.
Heaven 17 were formed. But also you became a producer. And
Yes.
the list of people who you produced is staggering. I mean, 50 million sales worldwide, using Tina
Yeah.
Turner, Terence Trent D'Arby, Shaka Khan, Erasure, Mark Arman, Mavis Staples, amongst many others. Any
Yeah.
stories about that work? I mean, that's incredible.
Well, where do you want me to start? I mean, Tina obviously is a big one, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'm your
but you
private dancer.
know, well, I didn't do that, but I did do Let's Stay Together.
Oh,
So,
Let's
okay.
stay together. The Al
which
Green
was a
song. Yeah.
breakthrough record in Europe, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the biggest selling 12-inch in American history at the time, and
Unbelievable.
that kind of convinced her record company to give her the big record deal, and that relaunched her career. She was lovely, by the way. It's a real tragedy what happened to her. And then, you know, Terence, or Sananda Maitreya as he's known now, he's on the new B.E.F album, sounding as good as ever. Terence, I mean, I remember him saying to me, Martyn, I'm going to be, I'm going over to America and I'm going, yeah. I said, yeah, but that's like kind of like Coles to Newcastle, it's gone. There are millions of soul singers there who are really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Typical kind of northern hyper realism, And next thing you know, he's on the front of Rolling Stone going, I am a genius, headline. And I'm going, oh, okay. And then it's like, and then Wishing Well's #1 in America, and I'm
Yeah.
going,
Told you so. Told you so.
yeah. So anyway, I was very happy about that. So yeah, batting #1 in America, which is nice.
Does any of the old gear continue on in your compositions? For instance, do you still go use drum tracks from the way you did it in the old day, or have you become more friendly with your DAW lately?
More friendly. It's all I ever use, really.
Or
Apart from,
have you found a suitable replacement for your ears for something that they used to achieve on the System
um,
100?
it's good. It's a very good question. It's a specific sound, isn't it? So if you're after that
Yeah,
sound, then I can recreate that. And I have actually done a live event at the Royal Festival Hall, where I recreated Being Boiled live from scratch,
right.
just using an original an original template sheet with all the marks on and everything, and matching it up and doing that, and then playing all the top bits live and everything, singing along with it. That was quite fun. So yeah, I can do all that, but essentially it's about workflow now, isn't it? So I've still used the System 100 and the 700 on quite a few things on the new B.E.F album. And I've also got the new Behringer version of the Lindrum, which I've used on several tracks, which is quite good actually.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bit fiddly to use, but and then I've also got the recreation of the ARP 2600, which I've used on a few tracks. But mainly it's all in the box. It's all on the computer and virtual synths now.
What's
I
your
mean,
what's your
I'm
DAW of
sponsored by
choice?
every motherfucking producer there is. So I get them all for free, which is nice.
Are you a Logic or Ableton or
Logic.
Logicum? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same all the way.
Yeah.
But I always want to know. Okay, I know I'm going on and on about the sounds, but the drums in Fascist Groove Fang, etc. Is that the same methodology that you brought forward from the old days, or was there any advent of new technology?
No, that was the hardware sequencer on the System 100.
See, now we all got to go buy one of those somewhere.
Well, the thing is, right, here's a very interesting story for anybody who's technically minded. When I produced the I Say album with Vince for Erasure, he had an oscilloscope in his studio, a dual feed oscilloscope, and he at that time only used hardware sequencers. So he used an MC8 or 4, can't remember, Roland, and programmed everything in numbers on Yumi, which is like a BBC B, believe it or not, computer. I think he's the only person in the world still using it at that point. That was in 1995, 6. And so he was still doing it that way. I said, look, come on, you've got to get modern, Vince. You've got to move on to Logic. So he bought that, and I was teaching him various things. And he said, yeah, it's all right. He said, there's something not quite right about it. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's program a straight fours kick drum on Logic and a straight fours kick drum on the hardware sequencer. Feed one side into the two sides of the oscilloscope, and we'll see if it's exactly right. And bear in mind, it's a very old version of Logic, right? The hardware sequencer was absolutely, completely sub-millisecond perfect. And Logic drifted randomly, or apparently randomly, by up to 12 milliseconds.
Wow.
Now, I'm sure it's much better now because processing power's got much better.
I don't know if it is.
But that indefinable solidity of things like, like Trans-Europe Express,
Yeah.
there's that is the essence of funk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you can't have accurate syncopation if the backbeat isn't absolutely fucking rock solid.
Absolutely true.
And so the funk gets diluted the more that it varies around the accuracy, right? I'll prove this scientifically anyway. That's the point.
There's such a reassuring point for all the people that are analog purists out there, and I'm sure like me, I love to hear this because just the nature of your sound is defined initially by the tempo of those units.
Yes, exactly. But also, I'm also a fan of drum machines in general at that period of time, before they got very, very cheap ass. I mean, we moved through Lindrum through to, you know, the Alesis SP12 and also, I mean, they were all pretty much rock solid. All that changed really was a few vagaries about the programming and the sounds were a little bit punchier, had a different characteristic. Never really got into, although I don't mind the sound of it, but it became very much a cliche, the whole 808-909 thing for me. You know, I'm a big Roland fan. But the thing about all those drum machines is they do one job. They're not trying to draw the screen, run some fucking routines in the background, do a million things simultaneously. If you ever look at, if you have a look on even a powerful Apple computer on the monitor of what's running when you're running Logic, you will see the percentages moving all over the place of what's draining on the CPU. And it's like, there is only one. You don't need a fucking CPU if you've got a drum machine, you know, because it's just doing that job.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. That's brilliant. Thank you for that because, like, I think, yeah, are you teaching now as well?
Yeah, I spent 6 years as principal of a MA course in songwriting and production, but I gave it up in the end because it was taking over my life, and I'd rather do creative stuff rather than pen pushing. You know what I mean?
And how about the work with Illustrious then, the 3D audioscape, the immersive?
Yeah, that's been an amazing journey. I mean, it's
Yeah.
25 years old now, and still doing huge installations and stuff. But it's become what can I say? It's become ubiquitous now. Not as good. I mean, I always say to people, our system is like the Rolls Royce of it all, and then, you know, like Dolby Atmos is the Skoda. You know, well, it is, and it's just it does a job, but it doesn't sound like pure ambisonics, and so there's the market has increased, but but commensurately, there's a million people doing it now. Everybody's doing Atmos mixers, everybody's doing X, Y, and Z, and it's like become a cliche a little bit now. And so I'm kind of falling a little bit out of love with it. It's not quite developed in the way that I hoped, but we have done some incredible installations.
I know, I've seen some of them, yeah. I mean, the one that really stands out is the one that you did around the Olympics for
Yes,
over the Millennium
the
Bridge.
Millennium Bridge. Yeah,
Oh my God, it's so
it
beautiful.
was absolutely crackers.
Yeah, stunning.
And you know, it was so good that there were Facebook groups set up lobbying to keep it in there permanently because
Yeah,
people loved it. People loved
yeah,
it so much on their way to and from work. People
yeah.
went across the bridge twice a day. It was so powerful. There was one point in it's now long loop composition. There was one, the first 5 minutes was a composition by an American composer that he kindly collaborated with me, called Eric Whitaker, who's won loads of Grammys and stuff. And he, by coincidence, he'd written this piece called Water Night, and it was the entire theme of the installation was about the history of the Thames and the history of culture on the north and south banks of the Thames.
Mm.
Anyway, so it was this piece that he created with where he'd written this piece for people to collaborate online with him. So he'd send people like we're doing now on Zoom their part to sing on a piece of manuscript to a click or whatever. They'd sing it. He put together 3,000 collaborators, created a big choir, and he put all the different parts together and everything. He sent us the stems, and we spread the different sections of the choir out over this 300-meter long bridge in 3D. And it was so beautiful and realistic sounding that people, as they were crossing the bridge, were looking under the bridge to see where the sound was coming from, because the speakers were concealed in the structure of the bridge. You couldn't see them. They were the enclosures were painted the same color as the bridge. So they're going, where the fuck is this noise? Is this choir coming from us? It sounded completely real. And of course, as you walked across the bridge, you get the tenors and the basses at one end, then you get the mezzos and the sopranos, and it was
Incredible.
just mind-bending. The one final story about that, as we were running the tests, and it was the Olympic Committee that commissioned this, by the way. So we got this this guy came up to us and said, I'm from the council, Southwark Council, which is on the South Bank. We've been contacted by the Bishop of Southwark, who's got a Grace and Favour house, which is like a free cottage, basically, on the south side, next to the Globe Theatre, Shakespeare's Globe. And it said, you can't play this piece. And going, what are you talking about? Can't play it. We've got permission. We've done all the permissions. You know, everything's by the book. It's saying you can't play it because it's in the devil's mode. I swear to God on my children's life. What is this? The 16th century. It's incredible. So I'm going, no, just no. We're not stopping doing it. Go and talk to the council if you want to talk to them. But that's, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so another funny story was, well, funny. It was terrifying at the time. We'd done this installation, doing the testing again. We get contacted by the Globe Theatre next door, because I don't know if you know the Globe, but Globe is an open-air theatre basically in the round.
Yeah.
It's got big high walls surrounding it, and it's got an open top. And a woman came from the Globe Theatre and said, oh no, you can't, you're going to have to turn it right down because it's going to impact our performances. And I'm going, I don't think it will. I mean, it's pretty well focused, this. You might get a little bit of spill, but I said, I tell you what, we'll do a test. So we went into the middle of the Globe Theatre, shut the doors like it would be in a performance, and I radioed my operator and said, put the soundscape on. See, I didn't let her know when I was switching it on. I said to her, when do you think we should switch it on? She said, I'll wait in 5 minutes or so. I said, it's been on for the last 5 minutes. The things you have to do, it's unbelievable.
As if the thousands and thousands of people who were walking by that theatre every night, pissed out their brains, shouting.
There are that played. They estimate that 400,000 people crossed that bridge during the 8-week period when that installation was on.
Incredible, isn't it? Think about
and we had no complaints from anybody on the bridge.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can die happy doing that sort of shit. You know, that's like that's mind-bending stuff. You know?
Yeah, and you know, it all goes back to where we began, really, which is this kind of, you know, almost like a kind of ruthless desire to explore, which you've had for many, many, many years, and you just adding strings to your bow by doing things like the immersive soundscapes, but it all starts from that kind of desire to be creative, I guess.
It's an obsession, really. But I think the thing is, it's a bit of a Sheffield thing, to be honest. There's always a bit of fuck you in there. It's like it's like you know, when a lot of people would kind of take a balanced view on things and go, what if it goes wrong? How difficult is it going to be to do? I just go, it's a Sheffield thing. You just get on with it. You do things first and ask questions later.
Yeah,
You know,
totally get it. That's very Yorkshire.
We did a giant installation about the history, 3D sound installation a kind of mashup of historical references about London in the whole of Leicester Square. We had the speakers in the trees, and that was on for 10 days, played to 500,000 people.
Wow.
And on the first day, I had this guy come up to me, he was wearing like a white suit and all looked very posh and everything. He said, I don't think you can play this here, can you? You know, people are trying to have their lunch and their sandwiches in the square, and it's like, I said, who are you? He said, I'm head of the residents association for Leicester Square. I said, show me where the residents are. It's all offices.
Yeah.
It's all offices and businesses. There
Yeah.
are no residents. And he fucked off and never came back.
That's right.
People will try anything.
Yeah, I'm here to represent the pigeons of Leicester Square.
Yeah. It's outrageous anyway.
Should say
I
that.
think you've got to have a certain attitude to, you know, get over the mental barriers as well. It's not just the logistics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was going to ask you a football-related question. You're a
Oh,
Sheffield Wednesday fan.
I
Is that
am.
right?
I am.
Well, I mean, you must be glad in one respect that you got rid of the guy. But for those of you
Oh
who
my
don't know,
God.
Sheffield Wednesday are an institution, one of the oldest clubs in the country, playing a fantastic ground called Hillsborough. And they had a dreadful owner for several years who basically bled you dry.
10 years. 10
Yeah.
years.
10 years.
Absolute disaster. I knew it was all going to go wrong when about 3 years into his project, we're turned up at Hillsborough one day. There's like 25,000 people there. And he's going, right, we're all going to have, the announcer goes, we're all going to sing the Thai national anthem now for the King of Thailand's birthday. I'm going, everybody's looking at one another going, no, we're fucking not.
Oh, we're buggery, lad.
Not a chance. So there's just one woman through the PA singing this, and everyone's going, what the fuck is this all about? This guy thinks he's a king of the world. Anyway, we got rid of him.
If you want to have more tales from Martyn and read a lot more about Martyn's history, you've written an autobiography, Electronically Yours, Volume 1. And I imagine that this was quite an amount of time that you had to devote to getting this together.
Well, it was during lockdown, so I was bored.
That'll give you something to do.
Well, no, it was great because it was like,
Yeah.
it makes you, it's a bit like a stock take, really, of everything. Looking back, as I've already explained, I'm somebody who just gets on with stuff. I don't really do a kind of risk assessment before I do anything. And
Did you,
so consequently, it took. I mean, there'll never be a volume 2 unless we have another lockdown, because you know it took 3 solid months of writing. But I have to say, I wrote every word in that book. It's not being sub-edited. It's not being ghostwritten. I did more words than they asked for, thinking they were going to cut out like 30,000 or so, and they said no, you can leave it all in. It's great. So I'm very proud of it. The only problem is I had to read it as an audiobook. Don't ever get caught up in that shit. That was 4 solid days of reading. Oh my God.
I think I have to adventure into that world.
I wrote a book.
Sorry?
I wrote a book as well, a book of kind of my approach to making music, and I haven't done the audio book. I mean, the guy who put it out for me wants me to, and I suspect I possibly will at some point. But even reading it now for me is kind of a bit painful. You know, once you've written it, it's it's out there.
Mind it. But what I have to give you a little bit of a heads up warning. When I was writing this, I've got a bit of imposter syndrome, right? So I think a lot of people from poor backgrounds do.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, really, is anybody really interested in my life? So anyway, so I was subconsciously making a very big effort to make it as erudite as I could make it. Not in a pretentious way, but what I realized when I came to read the thing out, that I'd written so many very long sentences with inadequate punctuation
Yeah,
that made no sense. You'd have to go and read them back over and over again. I would never do
yeah.
that. Short sentences next time. It was very funny. The number of retakes. I must have done 500 retakes in 4 days,
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah.
Well,
it's all good stuff.
congratulations on getting
Yeah.
it done.
No, I got it done.
Do you have a favorite moment in your career that you go back and say that's my favorite song?
Uh, well, my favorite Hem 17 song is "Let Me Go."
Oh, good, yeah. I
Yeah,
love Let Me
I think
Go.
it's just about the peak of what we're capable of. I think "Come Live With Me" is a very good song as well, I have to say, from a structural point of view and a melodic point of view. But in terms of stuff that I'm proud of that I've been involved in, generally, I think possibly my proudest moment was when I composed a piece for the Royal Ballet that was on at the Royal Opera House. And they obviously did, there was like 20 dancers and stuff. And it was a world premiere in the Royal Opera House. And then you get brought on at the end, like all the great
Oh, yeah,
composers.
yeah,
You get
yeah,
brought on by the cast,
yeah, yeah.
and they throw fucking roses at you. They throw
Better than
roses
bottles,
at
isn't
you,
it?
and I'm going, well, it's better than bottles, which is what we normally get, but bottles of piss.
Yes.
But and I just thought, God, if only my mum and dad were alive, they would have
Yeah,
not believed
yeah,
it was possible,
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
thinking this goes down in the annals of the Royal Opera House, where the original performance of Rite of Spring was, where the original
yeah,
performance of some of the
yeah,
greatest operas on earth and ballets, and the Ballet Russe danced there, and I'm going, fucking
yeah.
hell, this,
I know. And then you're
that
on the
is,
stage,
and I'm just a young lad
a
from
lad from
Sheffield with no
Sheffield.
musical training.
Exactly, exactly. And it's your right to be there, Martin.
Yeah,
Well,
It's
absolutely.
your right.
I
You've
don't know.
achieved that.
It went
Yeah.
right to my fucking head, I have to say. No, it didn't.
You deserve it, though.
Yeah,
No, but that was the thing I'm most proud of, I think, because that was, when you're in a band, it's like you become so subsumed in the collaborative form
yeah,
that it's like I never ever in my life thought I would do, for instance, a solo album. That's why I hide behind the whole illustrious thing, right? Because it's like a bit more, and B.E.F for that matter. And but to actually have that approbation that no, you did this, nobody else did it.
yeah, yeah.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a different kind of
Different kind of feeling.
confidence it gives you. Yeah.
Congrats on
Well,
that.
maybe imposter syndrome is one thing, being modest is another, but occasionally occasionally it is nice to sit back and say, you know what, I did all right. I did all
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely did all right. And I'm very proud of it.
yeah, yeah.
I lost my camera. There I am. Okay.
Yeah.
Might be frozen. Yeah, I would be very proud of your career if I was you. I mean, so many classics, and one thing I love is before I speak to somebody, always like to go through the material throughout the week, and just had a really good time re-exploring your world here. I did have one question that was kind of funny, that we kind of skipped forward. What's this saying to me? At a time when you were first signed with Virgin Records and you had been making the future and you sort of like had already defined your sound pretty clearly. Virgin signed you and then they said, no, we want you to try something different. And then along came the men.
Oh,
I
right,
don't
yeah.
I don't depend on you. And then you did this, and then they said, no, we want you to go back to what you were doing. I actually kind of I like this record, but
Oh, me too.
I was kind
No,
of puzzled at the time with the story.
It's not quite the version of what happened. They were starting to get a bit edgy that we weren't selling more records. So our approach was, well, look, maybe we always like the idea of the kind of secret alternative alter ego thing, like
Yeah,
Bowie did Arnold Corns and that kind of thing, right?
yeah.
And we thought, well, this is our opportunity. We can't, because of the manifesto, step outside our comfort zone and use real instruments. But if we had an alter ego, we could, and just play. And if it doesn't work for people, we just say, well, it's just an experiment, right? So that's what and that record, The Men, was all about. It was our idea, albeit
Okay, great.
encouraged by the record company once they heard the idea, and ironically, looking back on it now, that became the template for Heaven 17, really.
Pretty much, huh?
Real backing vocals, real drums, real bass, real guitar, and that hybridization with sequencers and synths. And Phil's voice, of course.
I had already ventured well in the Human League door, and then someone said, "Have you heard the Men?" And I'm like, "What?" And then I got that. I didn't know the story for years, so it's good to know it finally.
Yeah. No, I'm proud of that record. I think it sounds really good.
It is. It's you got a Human League fan come into the room, and you'd be like, "You didn't heard the Men?" You'd be like, "What?" Yeah, throw it on.
And we like the idea of having a woman dressed as a man
Yeah,
on a record by the Men.
ahead of the times again.
Yeah, there you go. Poor man's Nostradamus, that's it.
Martyn, thank you so much for joining us today. I've had a great time chatting with you. Mark, you got anything else you?
Absolute pleasure. Really,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, we've been wanting to do this for some time, and when we, in our modesty, we're like going, well, dare we sort of reach out to Martyn, and thank you so much for being so obliging and so helpful, and
That's great.
I've loved, looking back over your career and listening to music and just looking at the illustrious stuff. It's just completely inspirational. So thanks so much.
Oh,
It's
thank you. Well,
real
wait till you
pleasure.
hear the new B.E.F album.
I cannot wait.
That is
Yeah.
fucking.
It all
That is something. Yeah.
that gives us something to look forward to. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it all goes
Okay.
back to the meat whistle.
That's it. The meat whistle. That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
All right, Martyn. Have a
Have
great
a great.
Take care of yourself. Yeah.
All the best to you. Have a great weekend, guys.
Send me a link.
Bye.
Or week, I should say. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. What a great time with Martyn Ware there the other morning with Mark. I see Mark's on the side here. Mark, you still there? Still up? That was a fun time, and I always feel like such a goof when I listen to myself back, but I guess everyone does. I have just endlessly been listening since, again, to a huge line of Heaven 17 songs, I have to say. Once you start listening to Penthouse and Pavement, and those tunes just get locked back in. So Let's All Make a Bomb just won't leave my head. So thank you again, Martyn, and thank you again, Mark, and thank you to all the guys out there here on the chat. I see y'all. Joe, Dre, thank you, Scully. Big up, Scully. Web of Weeps, Jay Kerr. Everybody, thanks. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and Sunday. And Rihanna's looking at me saying I have to eat as usual. So All the best to everybody, and we'll see you soon.